Think of a passion, your perhaps solitary hobby, and then fast forward and find out you are part now of a community so strong that you are able to host a global event entirely designed and staffed by volunteers. Amazing. Today, I'm here to talk about the adventure, the 2024 Subbuteo World Cup, hosted by the English Subbuteo Association, the ESA, in Royal Tunbridge Wells, the birthplace of Subbuteo, the finger-top table football game. Or rather, I'm here to talk about the power of dreams, to share the passion that builds communities, to try and identify the recipe that could be replicated, not just in the world of the little plastic man, but out there, one street at a time, your street. Think of a moment, perhaps in your childhood, where you made use of buttons or bottle caps or straws or any sorts of materials to play, driven by your imagination, and replicate the excitement of a race or a football match. Of course you did. But what happened in Tunbridge Wells, just after the Second World War, was on another scale, such to justify the paradox: football is the best imitation of Subbuteo. So please follow me into an imaginary time machine. It's 1946. England is craving normality after 6 years of war. A postman knocks on the door of a single-story building, the Lodge. A widow opens the door and receives a pile of postal orders. She sits at the dining table and counts £7,000. It would be £340,000 in current value. She walks out to the post office to cable her son, the IRF veteran and keen ornithologist, Peter Adolf, who is out in the United States for a business trip. The mother asks the son what to do with the postal orders. Peter replies with 2 words: bank them. What the mother doesn't know is that Peter invested, just before leaving, invested £2 and 10 shillings in an advert for a boys' magazine, promoting a product that only existed in his mind. But the advert triggered the imagination of so many kids, and they made the orders, and now they're waiting. They're waiting to get the set, which is made of cardboard figures pegged into plastic bottles with a lead washer. There is a cellulose ball, and there are wire nets, and there is a chalk, because with the chalk, you need to chalk out a football pitch in miniature on an old army blanket. So Peter rushed back home and started production at the Lodge with his mom. His vision will be rewarded by global success in the decades to come. A huge phenomenon. Subbuteo becomes the tabletop game of an era, played everywhere, on the carpet, in the living room, but also in competitive leagues and international tournaments. Success after success until the early 90s, when Subbuteo sales plummeted under the pressure of video games competition. So in 2000, the Subbuteo company decided to terminate production. Is this the end of our story? Well, no, because in its darkest hour, each good story gets a twist. It took a visionary to create Subbuteo, but then thousands of Subbuteo lovers kept the game alive and fleeting. Lots of small producers started producing replica products. And there were hundreds of people starting treasure hunting in the house lofts, charity shops, boot sales. To borrow a quote from Gustav Mahler, tradition is not the worship of ashes, it's the preservation of fire. And that is what happened. And Subbuteo had this great renaissance in England, in Europe, in many other countries in the world, and reached its peak during pandemic because people had times in their hands, and there was a need for normality, there was a need for something light. In Subbuteo, it's all about really healthy escapism and a suspension of disbelief and connecting and having, a very childhood kind of joy together. So that happened, and after the pandemic, after people were connected through social media, they were, sharing their passion through social medias and internet. What happened was that finally, after the pandemic, after the lockdown, we could meet again, and tournaments started happening again, dotted all over the country, and they never stopped since, and they have been growing since. The English Subbuteo Association has been at the heart of this revival, and the chairman, Alan Lee, has been tirelessly building a stronger association, a stronger board, and traveling all around England and beyond to spread the vision of bidding for a Subbuteo World Cup to be hosted. Well, all it started here in Tunbridge Wells, where it all began. But it's easier said than done, because first of all, we needed to find at least £50,000. It was a tall order. We had our ups and downs. But we made it through. How? Well, because we did not start from what we did not have. We did not start from what we were lacking of, from our needs. We actually started looking at each other and looking back. And when we were 12 or 13, our head full of dreams, and now, decades later, we had the opportunity of a lifetime to give ourselves and our friends the gift of a Subbuteo World Cup. So we did not start waiting to be perfect or to be 100% certain to make it. We actually look around. We started looking at each other as assets. And we look around, and we were contagious like a virus. Without being contagious, we could have never made it. And we had a huge, fantastic response from the local authority, from the wider local community in Tunbridge Wells, from the business community, for the Subbuteo company. And we worked very hard. We gave up holidays and weekends. We had to ask lots of forgiveness from our families for all the time we spent swallowed by our passion in action. And after lots of work, time that we had to carve from our day job and all this finding around who could be the best on-demand, the best, at talking, the best at creating a strategy for sponsorships, and who was the best man to deal and organize a huge, very wide tournament. They required a lot around in terms of logistic, media coverage, social media, you name it, all the stuff that was required. Well, day by day, month by month, dedicating lots of time, we actually help each other. We discover that there is always a non-monetary economy. There is the strength of our community time bank. There is the strength of networking and finding people who actually enjoy spending time with their friends and building something for the community. We found out that was really connecting lots of people around us as well. So in the end, the great day arrived. We had more than 300 players congregating here in Royal Tunbridge Wells, coming from all over the world, 27 countries, Singapore, Brazil, Australia, Japan. We were here to play for the greatest Subbuteo World Cup ever. We built memories for a lifetime. I can never forget our own Bob Varney scoring a stunning goal and projecting England into the veterans final. There was a video of the goal in the celebrations. It went viral, but even if that goal had never been filmed, that goal would be stamped in my memory, in my heart, forever. You may remember, Field of Dreams is taken from a book written by Kinsella, Shoeless Joe. It's the story of a farmer who builds a baseball field, driven by his dream of playing with his childhood heroes. If you build it, they will come. That kind of fire, we were driven by that kind of fire. Being proud of our little hobby being shown to the world, connecting lots of people, having that moment of magic. The moment of nostalgia, the moment of connection between generations as well. We learn that type of community needs to have a certain approach, where there is no hierarchy. We needed to be generals and soldiers. We needed to be able to be interviewed by BBC, and the next moment, Lord Vance, to have a negotiation about sponsorship at the moment after, to build stands, or to paint boards, or to glue pitches. That was very important, because cemented our friendship, that kind of helping each other, looking for each other, supporting each other. We worried, but we laughed together. We had unforgettable moments. The 2024 World Cup is not where my story ends, it's where our story here actually begins. The following day, after a crazy night of celebrations, just 3 hours sleeps, we were already again loading vans. And also we were thinking about next steps, how to continue this activity, how to be more engaging, more inclusive. And we built new clubs. We created the Langton Green Subbuteo Club, but we have so many now that everyone can have a club near home. We reflected on the meaning of what we had just experienced. And it's really, whatever your passion, listen to your heart. Get out your comfort zone. If you build it, they will come. Under the ashes, there is a fire that waits for you and those around you to burn again. It's time to be generals and soldiers, to be involved, to connect, to dedicate time, to spend time with friends. Because when you spend time with friends after a passion, after something you love, you get a huge reward, and the community around you flourishes. So whatever your passion, follow your heart. If you discover your passion, you're just a couple of flicks away, or a couple of handshakes away from your dream coming true. Thank you very much.
Thank you.